Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Value Added 101 webinar from the Waihoa Value Added Product Development Center. My name is Chris Bailey. I'm the manager at the WVA PDC. Here at the WVA PDC, our mission is to support local food entrepreneurs, create great products, and get them access to market with the goal to create sustainable businesses. And so that means not only creating high quality products, but also connecting them to the resources and partnerships and market opportunities as they grow. And so today's session focuses on one of the most important questions we hear from our local entrepreneurs. How do I get my product in front of more customers and buyers? And so trade shows and other statewide promotional programs are powerful tools to help increase local business and build brand awareness and wholesale relationships, as well as test new markets. But understanding which opportunities are available and when your business is ready can sometimes feel overwhelming. So that's why we're hosting this session, and we're excited to welcome our partners from the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism, DBED, and the Hawaii Food Industry Association, who will introduce several programs that support Hawaii food manufacturers, including HiSTEP, Hawaii State Trade Expansion Program, and the Made in Hawaii Festival, which the 32nd annual Made in Hawaii Festival is coming up next month. And so in this webinar today, you'll learn how these programs work, who they're designed for, how to participate, and how they could fit in your company's growth strategy. Whether you're preparing for your first trade show, attending this show, maybe interested in a future show, or exploring export opportunities, or just build your brand presence in general. So like all our webinars, we encourage folks to ask questions throughout the presentation. We're going to have our presenters share more about their programs, and then we'll have the Q&A at the end of the session. And with that, I'd like to introduce our guest experts today. So first we have Jamie Lum from DBED. Now, Jamie is the Business Development Program Manager. And joining her is Lau Fujikawa from DBED, who is part of the Business Development and Support Division, along with Jamie. And then we have Alexis Chapman, Director of Operations from the Hawaii Food Industry Association. Thank you all for joining us today.
Thanks, Chris. So business development and support, we actually have quite a few different programs, and I'm not going to go through everything, but just so that people know, we do a lot of things. And so if you have a question about DBED, you can come to us. We probably know who's doing it if we're not doing it ourselves. But I just want to jump into it right away. One of the big things we have at the BDSD, our division, is we are responsible for the Hawaii Made brand. We had just recently in June a huge conference. This is our annual Hawaii Made conference. This year was about the Food and Product Innovation Network. And so that's really newly established. Wahiawa is really the center of that. There's a lot of infrastructure that is being built out, as well as the education, training, validation at Wahiawa. And then BDSD's role is go to market. And so we did have a very good gathering of people. The real big point of this is we have a lot of opportunities for food manufacturers, for product development or product manufacturers, and we want to showcase you at events like this, right? We have our annual conference. We had a makeke, thanks to the FPN coordinator, Anela Akana, and we had a lot of companies from the Aina to Makeke group be showcased. We also were able to get feedback. This is a very new project, the Hawaii Made logo. The brand is being refreshed. It was in conjunction with the UH Community Design Center. We came up with a new representation of what it means to be Hawaii Made. And that is the program where we have established evaluation, wholesale value, 51% or more value added. And the whole point of this is to really put a brand to what is Hawaii Made, and to be able to push the authentic brand in order to give consumers the trustworthiness, the idea that this is actually made in Hawaii as much as possible through the manufacturing process, but it does represent Hawaii as best as it can, and therefore there is a lot of value for the consumer to derive benefit. So we are just still working on this logo. It's going to be given a lot more explanation. The brand will be built out, and we will be getting it out to the public soon. That being said, there is a certification program that we will be putting out for companies like yourselves, where if you'd be interested in being associated to use this brand, to be part of our program, you would sign up and go through that valuation process for all your products. Okay. We had started back when COVID happened, we put a portal together, and it was really a reaction to try to get e-commerce going for a lot of companies who, the economy shut down, right? They didn't have access to customers. And so we put a portal up, and it has been morphing over the years because we did take on different parts of the Hawaii Made program. Starting with the brand, we did research. That's when the conference started. And so we've been actually working since 2020 on Hawaii Made and really trying to present an ecosystem for companies to add value to your individual brands, to give you infrastructure such as the training that like Waihua is doing, and eventually leading to go to market. The programs we'll be talking about a little bit more, as well as the Made in Hawaiʻi Festival that Alexis is going to get into details about. So again, this is going under transformation. The idea is that we have different markets. If you were thinking of your target, you have local, visitor, US continent, and then the overseas markets that we'll be talking about. So this is really serving as a portal site for the program. All the conference information is there. We're going to be starting to put more information about the brand and the logo, and eventually we'll be having some sort of communications where we would have information going out, as much as getting information from you when you sign up for such programs. Supporting the brand or supporting your brands, we have go-to-market examples. Last year was the first time we were actually a government sponsor for the Made in Hawaii Festival. It was a great start, and we had a lot of companies from the Aina to Makeke program to be featured, as well as Maui. We had a few companies from there, and the In-Peace organization. And so this really was a great proof of concept, having our own pavilion. This is the old Hawaii Made logo, but the idea is to have the overarching logo, talk about the program and why the companies are adding value to the consumer experience. Like what value are you deriving from it being Hawaii Made by local? You know that it's supporting the community. There's going to be a lot of cultural values based. It comes back to really supporting the whole ecosystem, the economy of Hawaii versus something that's not made here, right? And so we're building all those things, going to market. We had great results, so much so that we're going to go again this year, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later. So, other examples, we had the Hawaii Hotel and Restaurant Show. This again a new opportunity for us. We had again a Hawaii Made Pavilion, and it was a great reach to neighbor islands as well as Oahu, which is very important because we do represent the whole state. And we had a lot of buyers as well as we had actual sales to consumers who showed up. The next event is going to be the ALA show, which is really for commissaries and the exchanges. So that's coming up. Again, a new effort that we're trying to do for the local market, and to see, because that is a huge network of consumers, and trying to see what we could test here in Hawaii with a view to perhaps going to other areas, wherever the commissaries and exchanges are. And of course, we're going to have the Made in Hawaiʻi Festival coming up in August. Like I said, our results were great. So thanks to Alexis, we were able to increase to 20 booths. So many more companies will be getting access, and the opportunity will be to, promote their brand, to validate your product, to make sales, and to actually engage with customers so that you can continue to go forth and expand your business. And then we'll be finishing up here locally with the Made in Maui County Festival, and that's going to be coming up in November. We're going to go into the export section that Jamie will go over, and then I'll jump in, Jamie, when there's going to be parts that I can talk about.
Okay. Thanks, Lyle. Aloha, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. So I just want to give just a brief overview. I don't want to go into too much of the mechanics of our HiSTEP program, the Hawaii State Trade Expansion Program, but want to make you aware of it. And in particular, I'll focus my comments and look at some of the trade shows that we do. But basically, we get a grant from the SBA that helps us to help our local companies that make Hawaii-made products and services as well to sell worldwide. And we do this in partnership with many other organizations, and we have the logos of all the different organizations that we work with to really create this ecosystem to help companies that want to grow their companies through selling in the global marketplace by going through the HiSTEP program. Next slide, please. And then just quickly, what we want to accomplish through the HiSTEP program is to expand the amount of exports, the dollar amount of exports from Hawaii. We want to see a larger number of companies be able to grow their companies through, as I said, selling in the global marketplace. Our statistics show that 96% of the world's consumers are outside of the US. So this is a way for companies to be able to expand if they so choose to do. And then we also want to see a larger number of countries around the world that carry Hawaii-made products and use our Hawaii services. Next slide, please. So just some of our successes. We've, over the years, since 2012, we've been able to get $7.4 million in grants from the SBA. It's helped to generate $174 million in new export sales. And here's some of the economic impacts to our economy, including $12 million of state taxes and over 1,500 jobs that it helps to support. And we've had, over the years, over 1,800 companies participate in the program. Next slide, please. And then this is just the number of activities we've done, 83 trade and consumer shows over that time period. We do training seminars, and we also do award financial assistance to companies. And we've been able to give out $1.7 million in financial assistance. Next slide, please. So there are three components that have to do with training and export readiness that have to do with what we call go global. And that includes our trade and consumer shows, and then the financial assistance that I mentioned. So in terms of participating in trade shows, these are some of the trade shows that we have participated in or are participating in. The Winter Fancy Food Fair, we do work with Wahiawa and Leeward's Aina Tumakeke program. 2026 was the first year that we, DBED, participated. And when I say participate, what we do is with the HiSTEP funds, we purchase so many booths in the show. So we create a Hawaii pavilion, and then we recruit companies to participate. So that just shows January of this year, we took 8 companies, and that doesn't include Wahiawa and the Aina Tumakeke also had additional companies that went. But there were over 12,000 buyers that attended, and our companies reported $600,000 in actual and projected sales from this show. We also do the natural products show. We've done that for the last 5 years. And again, this has been another way for companies to be able to sell their Hawaii made products. Again, tying in with the Hawaii made that Lau was talking about. These trade shows are activities we have been doing for many years. But as we look at the new entrepreneurs that are coming on board through Wahiawa and other types of accelerator programs, we did feel that while companies eventually may reach a point where they want to try and sell internationally, we do need to do a more local, give more local opportunities to companies to be able to have more go-to-market opportunities here. So those were some of the things that that Lyle covered. But next step from that, if your company is ready, you can go to one of these domestic shows in the US. And then next slide, please, Lyle.
Jamie, can I just mention something real quick?
Sure.
The reason why Natural Products is such a good show is obviously the brand awareness of Hawaii. And we, especially it's going to be food companies, food and beverage companies that you folks are mostly going to be. I think there's going to be an opportunity now to really have the Hawaii made brand to be promoted. And that's going to be our program. But working with companies to elicit that higher consumer benefit, right? And it's not only the health and beauty part, but there's going to be a lot of perceived aspirational emotional benefit. So I think we're going to find opportunities to go back to the brand that we need to strengthen, but we want to hear from companies yourselves. What is it that you're trying to promote from your individual brands and all that? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Thank you.
And so then looking at our international trade shows, and again, when we go out and we recruit companies to participate, the benefit of participating, number one, is we try to make it affordable for smaller companies to participate in these large trade shows because it can cost thousands of dollars to participate if you go in on your own. But as a group, as part of the Hawaii Pavilion, most of the cost is subsidized to be in the show. And so it gives companies, smaller companies that might not have those resources to go in on their own to be part of these large shows. And second, as Lyle mentioned, is, being part of the Hawaii Pavilion, it does give you that opportunity to promote yourself under the Hawaii brand. And that has been a very powerful way for companies to show themselves at these shows. So just a couple of shows that we have been doing, a consumer show, which is the Hankyu Hawaii Fair. It's in July every year in Osaka. So this is a chance for companies to actually interact directly with consumers because this is a show where consumers can buy products. And it's also a way for companies to be able to gauge sort of their product and how it will do in the Japanese market. So it's grown from a 1-week event to now a 2-week event in the last 3 years, I believe, with over 200,000 people coming through during those days. So again, you see a lot of people, Japanese consumers love Hawaii. And so you see a lot of these people coming there, dressed in their Hawaii attire, et cetera, and they just take it all in. So it's really one of our really successful shows that are done. And then 2 other trade shows, the Tokyo International Gift Show, which is coming up in September. Again, we had over 30 companies participate last year. I think we're up in that same number this year. And you can see over the years, $86 million in actual projected sales. We also do the Food X show. And that's in March of every year. Again, over 70,000 attendees. And this year we had 20 booths with 23 companies, and we did have a section dedicated to some of the companies that have gone through the Wahiawa Value Added Product Development Center. Over 9 million in actual and projected sales since 2023, since we've done the show. So again, successful results for our companies. Next slide, please.
Jamie, can I comment here, please?
Yes, please.
I've been very fortunate to work on the Osaka Hankyu Hawaii Fair. We just had our 12th fair this year, so it continues to grow. And the reason why this is really important is because you need to have that opportunity to validate your product with the consumer, and it's going to have the direct opportunity where you can promote your brand again. You get your feedback from the interaction that you have with consumers. You sell, but then you engage with them because they want to buy your product and they actually want to visit and come to Hawaii to see you in your store or wherever you are. So that cycle is really important, but the success that you find from that can then lead you to the B2B. Sometimes it's backwards, right? Sometimes you'll go to TIGS in September, and then the Hankyu people will come. They'll find you. Oh, we want you to come because they'll see your success in that. But if you're thinking about Japan, look at the way that B2C and B2B will interact, because you can tell all you want to the wholesaler importer, please buy my product. But unless you can say, I have sold this much to Japanese consumers and they like my product because of this, the taste is there, the packaging and all those kinds of details, that's going to make your sales pitch much stronger, right? So it's a balance of those opportunities that you should look at. Okay. And just one last thing before we move on. Hankyu, we actually are going to invite, we have general managers who oversee the program, and they'll be coming in November of this year. So we're going to have a seminar. So we'll be getting the word out, and I think there'll be a lot of good general information that you can learn about the market, but there'll be very specific things about Hankyu. So keep an eye out for that email. Thank you.
Thanks, Lyle.
Yeah.
And then I mentioned that we have HiSTEP company assistance. So as the trade shows, these are trade shows that DBED selects to participate in, and then we recruit companies. With the company assistance program, what you can do as a company is, if you decide that there's a particular market you want to go into, and there may be a trade show, or maybe it's not a trade show, something else you want to do to try to get your product into that particular market, you can apply for company assistance to be reimbursed for qualified expenses that can help you execute on that plan. Say you want to do something in Korea, you want to do a trade show, you can put in an application. If your application is accepted, it can pay for the trade show that you want to go to. It can pay for your airfare. It can pay for costs to translate any materials that you need to translate, marketing materials, your website, etc. So those kinds of things. So that's another way for companies to be able to pursue other opportunities in other markets that you feel will fit for your product. Next slide, please. Okay. I'll turn it over to Lyle. I know, Lyle, you want to cover some of the...
Yeah. In terms of success stories, like I mentioned, you're finding out about these shows. There's a question about how many visitors attended. I think it's just the FoodX one. Like, what is the fit, right? You want to understand. So I think in terms of getting a calibration, or how do you align with this, the success stories that I've seen in Japan mostly really would be in certain areas of high value, so chocolate or coffee, and differentiating yourselves from your origin story, right? Jamie and I were talking about, should we say names? I'm gonna put a name out there. Say Manoa Chocolate. Okay, so because I saw Dylan from the very beginning working on this, and for over the time, he's really built up a very strong following, and he has some success in Japan through the Hankyu show and through some B2B things. It's not food, but we do have a skincare company that she started with Mary Marnark, and she was found by Japanese hula halal. And so they said, oh, you should go to DBED. And she actually started at the Tokyo National Gift Show. So doing the B2B opportunity is fine, but then she was actually scouted by the Hankyu team. And so she got to go to Hankyu, and then now it's a continuous thing. And depending on her plans, because as your expansion goes, right, how do you want to expand, throughout the market, you may look at these other opportunities. Taking a step back, I think really what it is where do you actually start? And I think a lot of your companies are going to be smaller. You have a huge opportunity made in Hawaiʻi Festival that Alexis is going to talk about. But there are also many other companies or markets, local markets, as well as your own online sales, right? You have a trade-off where, what do I do to go to market? And the main thing is you just start, because you need to validate your product, right? If there's any interest in anything that we talked about, you can definitely email us. We're gonna put that up here. Have the slide up here. You can ask us questions, whatever you want to find out about. There's a question from Haley about offering workshops. We don't have a current program because of our HiSTEP funding was restricted this year, but we're looking at going back into doing training. So depending on the level of interest, definitely we'll form some workshops around that, or we'll just individually consult, because I think it depends on what each company really needs. So there are some basic things that we do have, some older YouTube videos that we can definitely promote more, and then we'll try to see what we can do to update on those things. But Jamie, did you have anything else to
just a further note to that. So as Lyle mentioned, we have in the past, to address Haley's question, done some more general webinars on different export topics and different market areas, like exporting to Japan or exporting to Mexico and Canada, etc. But as companies start to hone in a little bit more on what market they want to get into, and then we know more about their product, we are continuing to look for resources to help companies really be able to get those kinds of details that they need to get the certifications and so forth that they need to get into particular markets. So that's something we're continuing to look into. And as Lyle mentioned, as we receive more funding, we will start to get back into the general training, but also try to get into more specific topics that are useful to our companies in that sense.
Thank you, Lyle and Jamie. And actually, just to follow up, so Kenyon had a question in the chat and you responded to him, Lyle, but maybe you could speak to the group a little bit more on that. Mm-hmm. And Kenyon's question is, what's the difference between Hawaii Made and Made in Hawaii with Aloha?
Mm-hmm. Yes, so Made in Hawaii with Aloha is still currently active, but that is under the Department of Agriculture and Biosecurity. And they have evolved because they have also their jurisdiction, if you will, more ingredients, right? What is grown in Hawaii. And then the products that were value added and created from those things, that's where their purview falls. We have an overlap because we do have a lot of food products, value add, that we support. And what we're looking at is to harmonize under the Hawaiʻi Made brand and work together to cover that. So most likely the Made in Hawaii with Aloha will phase out because we have our new logo that we are launching and we'll be putting together. So we're in the midst of doing that. They do still have the seal of quality, which is very much about grown ingredients. And we are trying to understand, we're working on that harmonization right now. So, but in the meantime, if you are interested in those things, you can let me know, and then we can figure out what's the best way to proceed, because we understand that, right, you're going to put the brand on your website, on your packaging, all those kinds of things. So there's a lot of implications for your investment in the brand. So if you contact me, I can guide you through that.
Great. Thank you so much, Lyle. So again, yeah, thank you, Lyle. Thank you, Jamie. I want to turn it over to Alexis, which HFIA.
Good morning. I'm going to share my screen. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for jumping on here. I'm excited to talk about the festival. It's coming up really fast. I'm Alexis Chapman. I'm the Director of Operations for the Hawaii Food Industry Association, or HFIA, and we produce the Made in Hawaii Festival. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about kind of how to get the most out of it. Oops, where am I? So what is the Made in Hawaii Festival for you as a manufacturer? It is obviously a sales opportunity, right? It's a chance to connect with tons and tons of customers. It is a trade show. It's a great opportunity to connect with wholesale and retail buyers. It's a small business incubator. The Made in Hawaii Festival is a really unique place to beta test products. And it's an economic driver for the state. The festival generates over $10 million in direct sales for vendors. And that's not including things like the people that set up the show, the products that the vendors are buying to manufacture their products, all the other stuff that goes along with it. So it's really a huge economic multiplier for the state. And it's a cultural showcase and celebration of contemporary Hawaii culture, food, fashion, music, all of that wonderful stuff. All the products at the show are mandated by law to be 51% value added in Hawaii. So that includes the raw materials, design, manufacturing, and a few other aspects of the products. So none of this is an accident. The Made in Hawaii Festival was really created to be all these things. This is the 32nd annual festival. It started 32 years ago. Rep David Morihara saw some problems. A lot of the products that were Hawaiian were not manufactured in the state. They weren't designed in the state. They really had nothing to do with local people. They weren't coming from local businesses. He also saw that local businesses were struggling. So he had an idea to create one event that would do two things. So it would enable local businesses individually to sell real locally manufactured, locally designed products to benefit those businesses. And it would also elevate business in Hawaii as a whole. This was a great idea. At the time, nobody was super interested in it. No one knew kind of what it would look like, what it would require, what it would cost. And he shopped it around to a lot of different organizations and agencies, and no one was super interested until HFIA jumped on it. And it actually really makes sense that HFIA does this because buyer's hours is one of the most important aspects of the festival. And our members are retailers, wholesalers, and companies like that. So buyer's hours. So the first 2 hours of the festival are open to, it's usually the first 2 hours of the festival are just open to retailer and wholesale buyers. So this is like, they're there to buy, not for themselves individually, but for their business. They're there to buy in large quantities or just test out new products or find new products, find new businesses, and connect. Usually connecting with a retailer or wholesale buyer for a small business can mean cold calling, it can mean interviewing, it can mean sending out samples. At the Made in Hawaii Festival, we have buyer's hours we're sending out buyer's hours tickets. They're capped at 1,000 this year. So this is a chance to connect with 1,000 buyers in one place, which is really, really unique opportunity. Most small businesses won't get that opportunity in one place at one time. And it's also really one of the most important aspects of the festival. So if you're interested in scaling your business, selling to local retailers, selling to local wholesalers, if you're looking for a distributor, this is a really unique opportunity that you should definitely take advantage. This year, we did make some adjustments. So buyer's hours is actually also overlapping with the Huaka'i by Hawaiian VIP hours. So buyer's hours will be 6:30 to 8:30. The VIP by Hawaiian will be 6:30 to 10. Those shoppers are also really people you want to connect with. They're people that have paid a little bit extra to come in early to have access to that special time. It's a limited amount of tickets. So these are VIP shoppers, and also a really good chance to like kind of make we're anticipating some bigger sales. So most of you are probably a little bit familiar with the festival. There are some things that are different this year. For 2026, we've expanded to include the 3rd floor as well as the 3 exhibition halls on the ground floor. This is due to a few different things. Part of it's the construction at the convention center. But there's some really exciting things happening upstairs. We've always got tons and tons of new products being launched at the festival. This year, we actually have some new businesses being launched at the festival and some really interesting different shopping experiences, especially on the 3rd floor. So we definitely encourage everyone to come check it out. Really, these are local businesses that are kind of pushing the boundaries of like what their business is and how they're interacting with other businesses. So definitely come check that out. We're also offering more info about vendors. So one of the things that kind of Lyle mentioned was the 51%, and I've also mentioned 51% value added. What does that exactly mean? The difference between like made in Hawaii, manufactured in Hawaii, designed in Hawaii, we're trying to give people a little more information about that and transparency. So 51% value added does include design. We do have a few vendors, in particular in the textile areas, that are most of their 51% value add does come from the design. So we are giving vendors that manufacture locally, that are doing actual manufacturing processes locally, the opportunity to have stickers about that. Design in Hawaii can have stickers. We also are giving vendors from different islands can put up stickers, and that will be searchable on the map. So if you want to search Maui vendors, you can pull up the map and like shop at all Maui vendors. If you are a Maui or neighbor island vendor and you want to let people know that, you can let them know that. We also have stickers for Wahine owned and Kanaka owned businesses. And finally, this year, we've been trying this forever, shuttles. Roberts will be running shuttles for vendors and for the public from some local parking lots. So that should really make the whole transition a lot easier, parking, getting to the festival, to not have to search around Ala Moana and wander through traffic. So that'll be really good. And we have some new hours and ticketing structure. This is mainly due to the construction at the convention center. So we will, as I said, Thursday night, 6:30 to 8:30 will be the buyer's hours. That is free. It's available only to eligible buyers. They have to go through an application. Also, Thursday night is the VIP access night presented by Huaka'i. So this is 6:30 to 10 p.m. and it's a limited number of tickets. Friday night, similar. This is 6:30 to 10 p.m. So the Thursday night, and actually these tickets went on sale via a special link by Huaka'i by Hawaiian, and we're already, I think, about 30% sold out. So they won't go on public sale until August 1st, but there's a lot of interest in this. And then Friday night, similarly, 6:30 to 10 p.m. And then the big public hours will be Saturday and Sunday, and we're staying open a little later on Sunday just to make sure that vendors have a chance to get all the sales in. So some tips and advice for the festival. So I asked our vendor manager, like, what's the one thing that we should be communicating to vendors or potential vendors? And she said that the one place that people get most hung up is that they don't fill out the form all the way. And this is like, the admin stuff is not super fun. It's not exciting. It's not, creative, but it's stuff that we have to do. So for you as a vendor, that means kind of maybe learning some new skills or taking on some skills that are outside of creating your actual product or working with people that have those skills, but be ready to do the admin stuff. Fill out the forms, do the marketing, do the paperwork, do the tax stuff, do all that unfun stuff that we have to do to get our business going. be ready for buyer's hours. This is a huge one. Buyer's hours, again, this is a completely unique opportunity to connect with up to 1,000 buyers from different companies. So this year, I went through the list a few days ago. We obviously have buyers from Safeway, Foodland, HFA, Walgreens, Nordstrom, the commissaries, and that was just names that I happened to recognize off the list. We already have over 400 buyers registered. It's capped at 1,000. And there's tons and tons of like Okimoto Corp, Tomorrow Supermarket, Tomorrow Enterprises, like a lot of local businesses are going to be there. ABC stores, they come in big. And so this is, if you're interested in scaling your business now or in the future, really take advantage of this. During buyer's hours, if you come to the festival, be there personally, be present, you know, you as the owner, as the maker, be ready to tell your story, be ready to connect with these people, have the samples. If you're not going to do samples at all during the show, still do them during this one time. Have the samples out, be ready to connect, be ready to tell your story, because the buyers, they want to know your story. The VIP customers want to know your story. Go the right speed for your business. So this is a big one. Every year, and this is unfortunate, we'll see businesses come to the festival and they have a lot of big ideas, and then they try and scale too fast, and they either have to shrink way back down, or, you know, sometimes the businesses collapse and they have to start from scratch. But scale at a speed that works for you, where you can maintain your quality, where you can maintain your identity as a business, as a brand. Go the speed limit, figure out what size you want to be and what you need to do to get there in a sustainable way. And this is, you know, you also see tons and tons of success stories around this. Hawaiian Chip Company started, Jimmy's been coming to the festival since before I was involved with it, but that was where I first met him. And this was over 10 years ago. They were just a booth selling chips and hot sauce at the festival. And now they're this tremendous local brand, and he actually makes space and helps other local brands succeed. And it's a great success for Manoa Chocolate. They're going to be there also this year. They're another brand that like really took advantage of the festival and has used it to scale. Diamond Bakery, Aloha Shoyu. Diamond Bakery still, they don't come to the festival every year, but they always come when they have a new product they want to beta test, because they understand the value of getting in front of 60,000 people and getting that direct customer feedback and getting that data about, oh, this is what people like, this is what they don't like. You know, these new flavors had great response. These ones people weren't super interested in. So go the right speed for your business and find your customer base and tailor your product to them. I'm really glad that Lyle brought up Manoa Chocolate, because I was going to mention them as well. As I said, they come to the festival almost every year. They're coming this year. I buy Hershey's chocolate occasionally. I also buy Manoa Chocolate. It's like $8 or $9 a bar. I expect totally different things from these two products, right? I expect the packaging to look different. I expect the quality to be different. I expect different ingredients. I expect a different experience when I'm buying it and when I'm enjoying it. So, and they have absolutely nailed that. Their packaging is beautiful. It totally matches their price point, and it totally matches their customer base. So find your customers, tailor your product to them, tailor the experience they're going to have to them, tailor the packaging to them, and make sure that you're communicating your story to them, because that is what makes you unique. The fact that you're manufacturing locally, you're using local ingredients, what inspired you to get into this. Your customers really want to know all that stuff, and that's part of what helps them connect with you. And then I'm going to say this over and over again, and it's not an accident. What can you get out of the Made in Hawaii Festival? Connect, connect, connect. If you're thinking about doing the festival, or you're committed to doing the festival, this is a chance to connect with new and existing customer base, right? We have a ton of visitors that come to the festival, and that's fantastic. But these are your repeat customers. They're going to come to the festival and they're going to buy your product, and they're going to look for it in a few weeks, maybe in, you know, or in a few months or next year at another market, at Foodland, at Safeway, on your website. These are your repeat customers. They're going to come back and they're going to buy your product over and over again. Connect with them. Again, buyer's hours. Connect with wholesale buyers, retailers, and distributors. When you're ready to do that, this is the place to do it. And this is a chance. They're there to shop. You know, you're not cold emailing them. You're not catching them at a bad time. They're there to find new products. They're there to find you. Connect with other businesses that you may need to grow. If you look at the sponsor list for the festival, it's a lot of companies that aren't manufacturers. They're not companies that are manufacturing. It's financial institutions. It's, you know, design companies, PR firms, insurance companies. These are companies that you are, as you grow, you're going to need in order to grow your business here in Hawaii, and they want to help you. CPB is doing a webinar for vendors on small business financing and stuff like that. We have a lot of really cool sponsors that are the companies that you'll need to be in business with as you grow, and connect with other resources. DBEDT is a great example of this, obviously, the HiSTEP program. They have so many programs. HTDC is another one, the Manufacturing Assistance Program. The MAP grants exists. It's grant money, and it exists specifically to help local manufacturing. For Oahu-based businesses, the OER is going to be at the festival. They're kind of transitioning. They're in some change with some funding, but they are going to be there, and they do exist to help businesses in Honolulu grow. And of course, us, HFIA. We are here for manufacturers, retailers, suppliers, distributors. We exist, to help the industry as a whole, to help protect Hawaii food systems, and to help businesses, do what they need to survive and thrive here in Hawaii. So really, the festival is one of those things that you are going to get out of it what you put into it. If you're just there to make sales and that you're happy with that, we have businesses that just come to the festival and have done this for 30 years. It's their only live event they do. They come to the festival, they sell a bunch of stuff, and that's what they do, and they're successful, and that's what works for them. Other ones I said, like Diamond Bakery, come to beta test new products. They don't necessarily need the sales that they're making at the festival because they're so huge, but it's a unique opportunity to beta test. Some companies are there really just for the buyer's hours. And other companies that do a lot of online sales, like Honua Skincare and stuff like that, this is one of their only opportunities because they don't have their own retail to get face-to-face time with their customers. So it's really, you're going to get out of it whatever you put into it. And it's really, you can make it all of those things or whatever works for you. And I hope you guys have some questions for us.
All right. Well, Alexis, I have a question for you. So for a prospective first-time vendor, whether it's this show or next show, what might be like the 3 key things to kind of keep in mind entering their first show? Like, of all that you kind of talked about, like, what are the priority items to best prepare for a successful first show?
I think go in with realistic expectations. Like, it is a ton of work. And this year, like the 4 days, we've been hearing from vendors, like some vendors are really excited about it. They're like, oh, that's great. I can do stuff. I can prep on Thursday morning and Friday morning during the day. I've never had that time before. But it's 4 days and you've got to be kind of on all the time. Load in and load out is really challenging. A lot of people come in they're thinking about the festival. They're thinking about making sales. Load in is challenging. Load out is challenging, and you're exhausted after 4 days. Kind of come in with realistic expectations and be ready to kind of put your best foot forward when you're in front of the customers. And flexibility, it's a huge, huge show, and there's just a lot of moving parts and flexibility. And then just the admin stuff, like I said, it's so not fun, but doing the forms, checking the little boxes, getting the insurance thing, blah, 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 blah. Just be ready, or have someone on your team that is ready to just do all that like unfun stuff. Because that's really kind of what gets you in the door and gets you there.
Thanks, Alexis. Kenan, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I've got a question for Alexis. How should we think about inventory for the show? I've heard a lot of people who have participated say they sold out after like a day or two. So I'm really nervous about that. That
is like the $64,000 question, right? Like people ask me that every year and I'm like, well, how good is your stuff? Like, no, I honestly, and I don't know what you have, Kenyon, it's probably not a super great answer. I always tell people, I'm like, bring everything. Unless you're selling like really large, heavy items, like bring as much as you can. We have they have the container for storage. Like if you can store stuff under your booth, like just have as much as you can, because like that, to me, loading in a bunch of stuff and then having to load it out again, if you don't sell out of it, is annoying. Being in there on Sunday morning or afternoon or whatever and being sold out and having customers, because they're going to remember that experience, right? They're going to remember they came to their booth and they couldn't buy it, whatever. So that to me is a worst case scenario. So I just tell people, like, bring as much as you can. Or have a plan, like if it's not stuff that you can load in all of it day of, like have a plan to restock throughout the festival if you can.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Masao in the chat has a few questions. So first, is the trade show model complemented by an online marketplace?
So if that's for Made in Hawaii Festival, not at the moment. We did do an online marketplace in 2020 when we couldn't have the festival live. And it was really functional. It kept a lot of businesses afloat, but it's logistically basically was sending vendors to all the different websites to buy, and then they were kind of checking out. So it was kind of clunky at the time. And at the moment, we just want to focus on the in-person event because it's kind of a unique, that's a unique opportunity. How is AI business models changing business success? That's a big question. I think it depends on what your business is. We're really, for manufacturing, because of the workforce shortages, and this is, again, we work with tiny businesses all the way up the supply chain, like Coke and Pepsi and Safeway and stuff like that. Automation, because of the workforce, like it's so hard to find people. So if there's processes that you can automate so that you can have the humans focus on the stuff that the humans are best at, that's kind of, I think, best case scenario with AI. And what are the fees for the show? We actually had a really affordable booth this year, started at $650 upstairs for the whole show. I don't know if we're going to be able to replicate that next year. Upstairs was kind of a new territory, so we wanted to do an entry fee that enabled some really small and some new vendors to come up there. And we also got a bunch of existing vendors up there. And it goes up from there. Like if you get a quadruple island booth around a pillar, it's obviously going to be, much more expensive. So, but it starts at about $650. And then the downstairs normal booths were, I think, about $1,000, and then it just goes up from there. The next generation of entrepreneurs, man, that's another big one. So it's, I think the next generation of entrepreneurs there's a lot of bifurcation. So a lot of people are leaning into like luxury items or more just mass produced stuff. So here in Hawaii, obviously, like locally made stuff tends to go in the luxury direction. But I hope that we're also trending towards producing more of our staple goods here and our just everyday stuff that we need and use and want here.
So Kendra, you had a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, do you have any like numbers of how many people are expected to attend the festival this year, or any kind of guesses?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Should have led with that. So we probably have better estimates this year because we're capping the ticket sale. So it's 1,000 buyers and 7,000, so 1,000 buyers hours tickets and then 7,000 sold tickets on Friday night. So it's 8,000, and then, or on Thursday night, and then 8,000 on Friday night. And then we're anticipating like 25,000 each on Saturday, Sunday. It'll be 22 to 27, something in that neighborhood for each day. So it's going to be in the neighborhood of 60,000, which is about what we had last year. We had a little, maybe more last year, but it'll be just spread out over different hours. And the other difference, and we don't have numbers on this, obviously, because it's the first time we're doing this. I do anticipate that the shoppers that are coming in Friday and Thursday night are going to be fewer people spending more money because they're paying more for their ticket. So these are the people that wanted to come in and get the drops. They wanted to come in and have like a more chill shopping experience, and they were willing to pay $20, $25 for that.
That makes sense. Thank you.
And
Yeah.
Sarah, you have your hand up.
Hi, yes. I just had a question about the Hawaii Made valuation formula. So that 51%, is that the Hawaii wholesale value added? That's the percentage that you guys require?
Correct. Yeah. So it would be the whatever goods that you're producing, your labor costs, any other costs that it would be based in Hawaii. Right. So it's the same as what the festival is basically the same formula.
Okay.
We're
So
trying.
it's 51.
Yes, and that's a minimum. So for what we would call Hawaii Made. So understanding that if you have apparel, because of the cost of the goods the total cost, we're looking at other ways to include, but change the the different factors into that. So if you have, like I said, it's a case by case. So you have to. We haven't built it out yet, but we're going to be getting it ready for the later on this year. And so as we roll out the brand and the logo, we'll be putting those specific details out there. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, that's not a good answer, but it's basic. It's essentially the same. It hasn't really changed, but what we're trying to do is to address the fact that it is such a challenge to manufacture here in Hawaii. And there's a question from Masao about that. When we import our goods, why we worry about out of state? What we're trying to do is to add value, because the brand of Hawaii is so loved by outside of Hawaii. And so if we can create value with what we have here and gain economic value by exporting, that's the whole process of doing that. Like what Alexis said, hopefully growing things in Hawaii, food security, right? So that's part of this food and product innovation network, where we're creating pathways for farmers so that manufacturers can create value-added products for local consumption. And then if we can sell to the U.S. continent, that's a bigger market, right? To get more economic impact. And definitely, selling to Japan and to other overseas markets, because the brand of Hawaii is so highly valued. That's the whole strategy for that. So hopefully that answers your question there.
And then also, Sarah, for I think most of you guys on this call, if your product is food, if you're manufacturing food, you're going to hit that 51% pretty easily. And if you're manufacturing food locally with like one or local ingredient, that's like, you're going to hit that 51% quite fast. It gets into textiles when it gets really tricky, because the inputs are complicated and stuff like that. But for food, it's pretty easy to hit that 51%, because it's so much of the processes and so much of the expenses happening here.
Awesome. Well, we're at time. So just want to thank Lyle, Jamie, Alexis. Thank you all for your perspective and your expertise today. And thank you everyone for joining. I do just want to share some links on behalf of the WVA PDC, including our website, or if you want to schedule a tour. So I did share that in the chat. And also, I'm just going to pull up a slide right now. But again, thank you all for joining. And be on the lookout for upcoming webinars in the future.